Adventure on Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm here back in South Florida. I was at Welcome to Rockville. I got evacuated 3 days in a row. One of those days, I was supposed to have an interview with this really badass band, and it just didn't happen. Nature decided it was not in the cards, but nature decided it is in the cards today. So we are here with Elmer from Distant. How are you?
I'm good. I'm back home safe now. So
I know, and we're actually kind of lucky when we scheduled this because I wasn't surprised about Rockville. Okay, I've been doing Rockville since like 2013, and I think there's only one time I was not evacuated. But it's like that here during this time of year. It's like 3-4 o'clock. 3 to 5, you can generally set your alarm clock that it's going to be a thunderstorm with sometimes badass lightning and a serious torrential downpour. And as you saw, that was very true at Welcome to Rockville.
Oh yeah. Well, I was really surprised, to be honest, because I'm used to the European festivals, and when something like this happens, it's just
chaos.
Yeah, it's cancellation of the whole festival, and it doesn't continue, but it seems like a smooth procedure at Welcome to Rockville where they just continue again.
Well, the winter festivals have a lot of experience with evacuations because I've had a lot of them over the years at different ones. But I think the way they did this year was really good. Like they really honed in on it because really no bands really got cut. There were only 2 bands that didn't play. One that's because they had to go on to their next gig. And that happens, like sometimes you're on a timeline, like, and you're supposed to get on loadout, like as soon as you're, done with your gig. And then another one, she just disappeared. So I don't know. She probably figured too, like you would think like, oh, well, it's over now. Like, I'll bet you that's what happened. She probably was like, oh, it's going to be all canceled altogether now.
Yeah.
But what's cool too is Wimmer always has this good connection with the local law enforcement and first responders. So I remember like several years ago at Rock on the Range, it was Sonic. It was either Sonic Temple or Rock on the Range, but Metallica was supposed to headline, and there was a massive storm. We got evacuated, and people were in the Facebook groups threatening that they were going to riot if Metallica didn't play, and and then where it was had the noise ordinance, so you couldn't play it past a certain time no matter what. Wimmer actually got the law enforcement in the area to extend the curfew so Metallica could play. They played at 1 a.m, which would be normal if we were at Hellfest or someplace like that. But in the States, it's not always normal to be able to play at 1 a.m. I think it would suck being a band though, right? Like you're supposed to play at a certain time and you're all pumped up to play, and then you got to wait till 1 a.m. Like you're all deflated by that time.
Exactly.
Right?
You have to, especially if you have to sit around and wait.
Right. That's the point. If you were doing something, it's one thing, but if you're sitting around and waiting, man, that's rough to get through right there, especially when you're the headline band. But I got to check out your set at Rockville, and oh my God, you definitely represented the Northern European area very well because you guys were brutal. And I say that in the best of ways.
Yeah. Well, that's what we like.
Right? I mean, I often think that bands in your part of the world are so brutal and so great because the weather sucks so bad most of the time. So you got nothing better to do but to play your music.
Well, that's how it feels, yeah. Especially coming to the US, where the weather is always nice, just wherever you go.
Right, except when you're evacuated from a festival.
That's still the weather is nice. Like it's
Yeah,
hot, doesn't
ex-
matter.
exactly. Well, I gotta tell you something. I don't know. I'm some kind of moron because I've been going to your country a lot for the past 30 years. And for some reason, I don't know what kind of idiot I am. I almost always, except one time, have gone during the winter.
Yeah, that's
And
a bad decision.
oh my God. And then the last time was okay, I spent 2 months in Amsterdam, and then I spent another couple weeks in Den Haag. But you know how Amsterdam is, it's already built on water.
Yeah.
So for it, for the 3 months that I was in the Netherlands that year, a couple years ago, I saw a total of 3 hours sunlight, and it was freezing. Imagine I live in South Florida. I'm used to the cold. I'm from New York and New Jersey, but now I'm used to Florida. But that was bad enough. But walking through Amsterdam, and I'm the type that I won't let that stuff stop me. And I was walking every day through Amsterdam in that misty, freezing rain. That's my least favorite part of winter anywhere. Like they have that in New Jersey, and I'm like, I'd rather it would snow, to be honest, than that
Exactly.
freezing, misty rain. I was cured of winter then. Like I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm coming back here in the winter. From now on, I'm going to be smart and do the summer.
That'll be better, yeah. Way better.
Right?
That's why we always hope to get to the US in the winter, especially to Florida. So we've been looking out to flying over for the last half year, of course,
Yeah.
just to
And
get to the winter.
I know, right? And it's like I've considered several times moving to the Netherlands because I love it so much there. But now I'm convinced that if I do, it's not going to be. I'm going to like take the winter off. Like I
Just go
won't live there in the winter.
yeah.
But I mean, otherwise, it's a beautiful country, and it is really beautiful in the summer. I don't know why I always went in the winter because it is really beautiful in the summer. But yeah, I love your performance not only at Rockville, but I love your newest single because it is so freaking brutal. Like I was listening to it before the interview again just to pump up for the interview.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about, for the listeners that don't know you guys. I know it's funny. I'm not a genre person, but I kind of laughed in one of the descriptions I saw that said a 4-piece crushing down-tempo deathcore band.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's pretty cool because like a lot of times in my interviews at the festivals, because I do festivals all over the US, UK, and Europe, because it's so stupid nowadays with the microgenres and the subgenres, that a lot of times when I have somebody in the interview, I'm like, well, if you had your own genre that your own band was in, what would you call it?
Yeah.
And then I saw this, and I'm like, man, that would be the answer right there. Crushing down tempo deathcore. Like I like that. Has a good ring to it.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about well, let's go first. Let's talk a little bit about the experience of Rockville for you. Like you're used to doing the European festivals. US festivals used to be shit compared to European festivals. But
Yeah.
I think we're kind of taking, we're taking some tips from the European festivals. And now that you played Welcome to Rockville, how do you feel about that statement I just made? Do you think it was, as well run and as cool as a European festival?
Well, to be honest, I absolutely agree with it. Like, I was not expecting this, and this not in a bad way, but in a good way.
Yeah.
As I had hoped, to be honest, that it would be a totally different experience to play a festival in the US, but it felt very European, like how
Yes.
things were organized. Um, yeah, just in general, it might have been just for the weather and the thunderstorms and how that got fixed, but otherwise I would have thought I was in Europe.
Right. And see, I think that's where the Wimmer festivals are so great because he recognized what Europe has with music festivals that we
Yeah,
didn't have. Like our US festivals before Wimmer was more like carnivals or fairs than music festivals, is the best way I could put it. Like
yeah,
it was just like it wasn't well organized. It was crappy food. It was like just this, for lack of a better way of putting it, a shit show. And Danny Wimmer just runs a well-oiled machine, which leads me to the next question. How did you feel Danny Wimmer treated you as an artist? Because I think that's so important.
yeah. I agree to that, and actually, there was really well organized. So from from the start, where everything was advanced properly, but also to just the catering and the backstages. Again, yeah, very European experience where it's just super organized. There's nothing you can complain about even, and
I love that.
that's a bit of different compared to our general U.S. experience where for shows in general you get a buyout, which means you have to get your own food, which
Yeah,
is really pretty hard in the U.S. because there isn't any food shops around the corner, so you have to order food. So yeah, you just suffer on your health because you can't get a proper meal, you can't eat dinner at a proper time. And here at this festival, there was plenty of healthy food all day long. So
I love hearing that.
really nice. Yeah,
Because it's so important. The reason I think it's so important, first of all, as an artist, you need a stress-free experience,
yeah,
you know? And like nothing's worse than showing up to a festival, you have problems with catering, you have problems with load-in, you have problems with sound check, and
exactly.
it just puts your emotions and your mind in the wrong place to be prepared to do a gig.
Yeah, to be honest, I think that helps a lot, and I don't think you should budget on it because if the artist feels comfortable, doesn't have any complaints about anything, then just in general the performance will be good. If
Yeah,
if you're there on stage and you're hungry and thirsty, you're gonna have a performance.
exactly, exactly. And so I think that's where Danny Wimmer gets it. He gets that
Yeah,
one of the most important parts is the artist. Because if you please the artist, I think you're going to please the audience at the same time.
exactly. The artist is gonna give them their best show, and everybody is gonna be happy that they've seen so many bands at their best.
Right? So, what did it also feel like to play at one of the most famous racetracks in the whole world?
It felt a bit surreal, just because how it all looked. Like for us as Europeans, we're not very familiar with NASCAR. I'm a Formula One guy, so I would have hoped to be in Miami on the F1 track. But this track does look way cooler, to be honest.
Oh my God. It's like, it's so much fun riding on the track too. And that wall, it doesn't look like that on TV. Like that wall is insane that they have to drive around. They have to hit that wall, that corner at 80 miles per hour to in
Yeah,
order to not fall off the wall.
yeah, exactly.
That's insane,
Yeah,
And it's like, okay, so do you remember seeing? I have a trivia question for you, but we're not there, so you might not remember it. I asked
yeah.
all the bands. Do you remember seeing the seats in the stands, not where the audience was, but for the raceway, and they were all like multicolor seats?
I haven't seen that.
So, okay, so then I'll just tell you this is interesting. So, all the seats are in different colors, and they do it to make it look like the stands are full.
Ah, okay.
And I was interviewing a NASCAR driver at Rockville, and he
Yeah.
explained it perfectly to me too. He said, like, you go to a football game, or I mean, not a football game, basketball game, and there'll be like 20,000 people, okay, here in the States.
Yeah.
That that Daytona Speedway holds 100,000 people. So he said, imagine putting 20,000 people, it would look like the place was empty.
Yeah.
So just the trickery of, optical illusions, And it's
Smart.
funny, you talk about the racetrack, like I'm going in a couple weeks, I go over here, I do coverage at Download, which is also at a racetrack in the UK. But I never feel like I'm at a racetrack there. I don't even know I'm at a racetrack except the fact that I know. Whereas at the Daytona Speedway, you're playing in the field, in the infield of the Speedway.
Exactly. You can't really go around it.
Right? Exactly. I had to drive on the Speedway to get to my parking at media. I mean, like I say it like, oh, poor me, but I always fanboy out on it every time, like, oh, I'm driving on the Daytona Speedway. Oh man. And so let's go back to, your newest song, Rat Torture.
Yeah.
So like I said, it is absolutely brutal. Tell us about that song, because the first thing I think of in that song is, I'm from New York City, and it's like being in downtown New York City that you're getting tortured by rats everywhere. So
Yeah.
you tell us your version, because I know that's not what it is.
No, it's it's just it's just a play of words. It's about like this new age where everybody is glued to their screens, and it it feels like some sort of torture mechanism. While there is a way to escape it and get out of it, but just people are too fixated on their screens that they cannot.
Oh, I'm
So it's
telling you. For sure. I was thinking like the rat race. That's the pun on the
yeah,
words, because oh my God,
exactly.
like social media is so antisocial,
Yeah,
and it is true. Like everybody's so addicted, and the kids are they're addicted from day one. Like you can't take that electronic device away from them.
yeah, exactly. And it's hard to go against it, of course. Like how also we're now doing an interview over our computers, so
Right?
it's part of society, but just yeah, sometimes you just need to realize it and also get your bread out of it.
I do
But
kind
as
of
long as
find
you're aware, then it's fine, in my opinion. But some
I
people,
don't I don't know if it's true or not, but I do find when I go to Europe, they're a lot less addicted than we are. I mean, doesn't mean they're not using their devices, but I saw a lot more people putting their devices down
yeah,
in public when they're with people and hanging out and actually experiencing life. Whereas here,
yeah,
like, I'll go out to dinner with my kids and grandkids, and everybody's on their devices at
yeah,
the dinner table, you know? And it's insane, but it is also, there's, like you said, there's the good parts. It's a good way for you guys to get your music out to a lot more people, and a lot more no geographic limitations or anything like that. We can always talk about what the negative of that is, but I'd rather focus on the positive. And the positive is it gives bands like you to have the kind of brutal audience you did at Welcome to Rockville, all these thousands of miles away.
exactly. So it's we're not complaining against that, obviously, and we are very active online as well. Uh, Also glued to our screen sometimes. Just need to be aware of it, and uh, in some way, of course, you hope that this gets better, and this would have been better or otherwise. But yeah, what's the other alternative, right? Like,
I know it is. It's here. I did tell my youngest daughter one time. I was like, some days I just want to get in my car, drive down the road, throw my phone, laptop, and iPad out the window, and keep driving. And
yeah,
she goes to me, Dad, who are you kidding? You're just as addicted as anybody. I'm like, you're right. But I also do remember a time when I didn't have any of these devices, and I think it was a lot better and a lot less stressful.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, sometimes you just have some of these days, and that's where the music came from.
There you go.
Yeah,
So you're located in Rotterdam.
yeah.
What's your favorite part about Rotterdam?
I think it's a very new city because we got bombed by the Germans.
Yeah.
Second World War. So it's literally a newer city, but you can feel it like in how the people are. Like it's very, yeah, more futuristic or something
It
compared to
totally is.
other Dutch cities where very much, yeah, going more with the trends and uh, keeping up with the technology. So I like it because it's not that touristy as well compared to, for example, Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So just for us, it yeah, definitely feels like home.
Well, I think except for the architecture,
Yeah,
Amsterdam's more like an American city than a Dutch city. And in fact, funny thing
yeah,
is, we're talking about it. I've tried to learn Dutch, and then some people said to me, "Well, if you speak Dutch in Amsterdam, people are going to look at you weird." And
yeah,
I thought that was so weird. Like it's like saying where I live, if you speak English, you're going to look weird. Well, but that is true in Miami. If you're speaking English, they will look at you kind of weird in Miami. uh, but I was telling you before the interview, and it's so true. Like I was so surprised because when I went to Rotterdam for the first time, you know, you expect things when you're in Europe, everything's to look European. And you go to Amsterdam, it has all the ancient European architecture. But like you said, the Germans bombed Rotterdam, so they were forced to rebuild the whole thing.
yeah.
And I drove in at night, and listen, I've been to some of the most beautiful cities in the world, and I'm born in New York. I was in awe when I was driving up. I was like, oh my God, this is like the most beautiful city I've ever seen. And it was very modern. It was very colorful, modern, just such a different vibe than Amsterdam. I did like it better because it was less touristy. Like when I go to the Netherlands, like even when I was saying I was staying in Amsterdam for a couple months, I wasn't living in Amsterdam. I was living in Amstelveen
I'm so
because
yeah,
because I want to live with the locals, not in the tourist area. And
yeah.
so Rotterdam, I really loved it. And I had a lot of fun there. And I also think it's kind of good in a way too. I mean, things have changed because we have it partially legal here in the States, but the fact that even though you had places that were dispensaries, what we call dispensaries in Rotterdam, it wasn't so obvious. It wasn't like Americans going to Rotterdam so they could go smoke pot.
Exactly. Yeah,
And that's basically what Amsterdam always was. It was when I first went there. It was just a bunch of Americans. Like I remember getting friendly with a lot of Dutch people there, and they could give two craps about it. And I think that is the benefit of having it legal, because with it legal, you don't really care so much. So, you
exactly.
know,
Yeah,
you're not going to make a big deal about it. But I love your culture there. I love like everything about your country. And now I have a new band that I love in that country. So, so is that the was that the first time you did a Danny Winter Festival at
yes,
Rockville?
yeah. That was the first one.
So we'll have to see you come a lot more then,
Yeah,
because
that's
I'm
what we hope.
I'm glad that you were there. What else do you have going on this year in 2026?
Yeah, so in 2 weeks we start our European summer festivals. So we got a couple big ones on there, like Graspop and Jira on Air, Resurrection Fest. So we're very much excited for that. And yeah, later in the year, hopefully something in the US again.
Yeah, and you did Sonic Temple too, right?
No, we didn't. No.
Oh, what? Were you supposed to perform at Sonic Temple?
We hope to do it, but we didn't get invited.
You know, that's so funny because I didn't see it on the lineup. And I knew I didn't cover it this year because I didn't have any interviews. But then when I was like Googling, it said Google said you did play there. So that's pretty funny.
So what we did is we did a run with In Flames and Throne.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to Rockville, and they were playing Sonic Temple.
So maybe Google just thinks, since they're on tour together, they were playing there too.
Exactly.
It literally said your band played there. I'm like, I don't remember seeing them on the lineup.
No.
You know? But if you were going to pick one of the two, I think Rockville was the better one. And we had more people at Rockville too. So one festival, because I do a bunch of them over there that I haven't done yet that I thought of doing. I want to find out if you've ever played Dynamo. Have you played Dynamo Festival?
Yeah, of course. That's a famous Dutch one.
Yeah.
It used to be a really big one back in the 1990s. Too big for the Netherlands even. That's why they eventually canceled it because when people were stuck in traffic for days or something. The infrastructure of the Netherlands, since we're such a small country, wasn't made for such a huge festival.
That's why I don't drive when I'm in the Netherlands, man, because it's so easy to get everywhere without a car, and it's so difficult with a car. Yeah, so exactly.
They resurrected the Dynamo Festival again, but now it's in an ice hockey stadium, so they cannot scale it bigger than the confines of the ice hockey stadium. But it's a nice one since they put the stages on both ends of the ring. So once one band finishes, you just walk to the other side and you can watch the next band.
Nice. Well, yeah, see, that's not so easy to say at Rockville because to walk to the other side is like
it takes you a day.
It's like walking to Denmark.
Yeah.
You know, I get like when I do a lot of the festivals, I get like 80 miles walking in a whole weekend. You know, like I also do Hellfest. Oh my God, that festival is huge.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that festival. It's huge. And it's just insane, like the decorations there and what it is amazing how a lot of your European festivals, they kind of like start really small and then they just end up like owning the whole property or city. Like, you know, Hellfest pretty much owns Clisson, and you got Wacken, which pretty much that's its own city. And, you know, it is pretty amazing, not only how they're run, but how they've built these things from like nothing, from like little teeny festivals.
But that's also the nice thing about it. Like it starts around a small town, and that whole town will just live up to that festival the whole year. And once it starts growing, they really get an attachment to their own festival. So nobody of the neighbors cares that the festival's there because it's just that's their life basically. They're proud of it.
I love that attitude because you don't usually have that attitude here in the States. Like even in the town next to me where I live in, they built this whole area and this little amphitheater for bands to play, but they built apartments there. And the people, they ended up not using the amphitheater because all the people living in apartments complained. And I'm like, you know the amphitheater is going to be there. Why you get the apartment there? Like me, I would get the apartment there just because I'd have a good view, you know, and hear the music. but I don't get it. Like, that's why I see too. Like here in the States, people will complain about every little thing at a festival, and I don't hear anybody complain when I do the European or the UK festivals. Like they're all, and they're under some really bad conditions sometimes, and
Yeah.
they're just like it. The culture of loving this stuff and loving the music. We were just talking about this in the last interview I was doing. Like there are a lot of bands that were big in LA in the 80s that I thought were gone forever. And it turned out they were just in Europe all these years and playing at the European festivals because it's like you turn on the radio in Europe and it's like 80s radio, you know, and it's so wild. So speaking of 80s, where would you say your influences first came from to be it and to do the type of music you do now?
Yeah, it's a bit hard to say like that if you're referring to the 80s, because we're far away from the 80s. But
Well, and that's why, you know why I said that? I said that because I saw Possessed in the very beginning, and I think they pretty much started most anything that had death in it.
yeah, of course. Yeah, so I'm really old school death metal guy, so that's where it came from for me. But yeah, I think mostly for us, we started back in 2012. Mostly for us, it came from the first wave of deathcore, which started around 2006, 2007. And back then, it grew out to a nice size, but it stagnated around 2012. Uh, came Became a bit more uh, clustered, and that's
Yeah.
also when downtempo deathcore emerged. And for us as Europeans, especially Dutch Dutch people, were a couple years behind in our music genres. So back when everybody here in the Netherlands was still playing melodic hardcore, because that's what was in in the US in 2005 or something, uh, we were picking up deathcore and downtempo deathcore as basically the only band in the Netherlands, and we got booed a lot by all the locals. So we directly started focusing on going abroad, playing in the UK, because UK is a bit more ahead
Yeah.
uh, of the mainland Europe in the music taste. So there we got accepted, and that's that's how it grew from there. So yeah, I think the main influences are really just the old school deathcore of the first generation.
Nice. So saying that, something popped into my head that I wouldn't have even think to ask till while you're talking about it, especially because they played at Rockville too. What's your opinion of like Bring Me to Horizon originally being deathcore and now they're like, they're not what they originally were. They've evolved and they're definitely far from deathcore now in some respects. I mean, I love them, so I'm not throwing any shade because I love them, but I'm not one of the original Bring Me fans. Like if I was, I'd probably think differently. Just like I saw Metallica's first show ever when the Black Album came out, I was like, fucking posers. I'm never listening to them again.
Yeah, so in my opinion, like Bring Me the Horizon is an OG first generation deathcore band, because
Yeah.
their first album and Suicide Silence, the Cleansing album, those two albums in 2007 were really my thing and my like to go to deathcore albums. It they started evolving over the years. They did it pretty slow, but still they went far away from the deathcore genre. So for me personally, I just didn't keep track with it,
Right.
uh, just because yeah, I didn't feel like their new music. I wasn't hating on them though. Like I don't think they're posers because of it, and I would still go to a show hoping that they play some of their old stuff. Um, but I think for them it worked out really nice, and
They
they
do have an amazing live show,
yeah,
man.
and they
Like,
and they got so big with it, and also I think that it's just good for deathcore in general because then the new generation of people getting loving Bring Me the Horizon will go to their older albums and discover that they also got like a heavy side and bring them into the heavy music. So I think it's good for us as a genre, as deathcore, that bands like Bring Me the Horizon are there to draw in the new kids who discover their old stuff. And I think especially now, since Bring Me the Horizon is going back to their roots and doing a show with the first album, so they're still actively promoting it and
yeah.
being nice to us as a genre.
Well, I love that answer because I agree with you 1,000,000%. And I have two responses to that. One is, if it weren't for Metallica maybe doing that Black album, who who knows if we'd have 210,000 people at Welcome to Rockville for metal.
Yeah,
Like based and that's based on what you just said.
yeah,
It's like, you're bringing new people, but then you go to the back catalog, and that is what happened with me with Bring Me the Horizon, because I saw them for the first time several years ago at a Danny Wimmer festival. I didn't know them, and it was when That's the Spirit came out.
yeah,
And I was like, "Oh my god, I love them because they had such a great live show." But to your point, that made me go back to through their catalog to the beginning, and I really loved their old stuff. So it was like I am that example of, I wasn't an OG Bring Me the Horizon fan, so I didn't have that, oh man, they changed who they are thing. I had more of like, wow, they were really good live. Now let me check out the rest of their music,
yeah,
you know?
exactly. Well, I even have that with some just casual friends who aren't really that much into metal, but they do like Bring Me the Horizon, and they're always like, yeah, but I do love the old album, and just
Right?
just because they like the newer stuff, they can just accept the older stuff as well, and in that
Exactly.
way also accept what kind of music that I'm making.
Yeah, exactly. And that is the point there. And Ollie did make a good point in an interview I heard him talking on where he said, "Why do I want to write the same song over and over again?" And
Yeah,
I could see that. Like an artist, you're doing it for that many years. Do you want to just keep writing the exact same thing over and over again? You kind of want the whole thing of metal is experimentation, right? So you want to experiment what you can do.
Ex- it has two sides of the coin, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like I definitely agree to that. Like with metal you can just do whatever you want. But it goes both ways. Like for example with us now, and that's coming back to your earlier question about our new single and or previous singles as well. Like our first album was just really raw and unpolished. Then we started experimenting, polishing it up more with the previous albums. But now we're more like, yeah, let's just not make it too polished. We wanted raw stuff again, like on the first album, and that's what you get now with these newer singles. You get the rawness of a first album. We care less what other people think, in a sense that we just want to do what we love,
Yeah.
and we also feel like that if we do what we love, we will still have fans. We will still have people that like us just because they see that we perform something that we love to perform.
Yeah. Totally. And I agree with that 1,000,000% because if you don't love it, how can you expect other people to love it? Like, and
Yeah,
people can tell when you're just forcing it or if you're doing it because that's who you are.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the typical sellout band, right?
Right? But to your point, what you're saying, and I think that holds true to what you said about Bring Me the Horizon going back, and they're going to play their full album, or even Metallica, because some of their newest stuff is, to me, reminds me of the Kill 'Em All days,
Yeah.
and so the way I kind of put it now as an adult as opposed to acting like a teenager is, well, maybe they did it a certain way for a while, but now that enabled them to go back to their roots and people want to listen to it. And now you've reached the masses and now they'll hear it, because otherwise, how many people would have heard Kill 'Em All?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's maybe part of the evolution of a smart band.
There it is. There it is. Well, you guys are a smart band because you're doing exactly that. And you killed it at Welcome to Rockville. And, this new song, oh my God, it's just rat torture, man. Yeah, I wonder if you could do like science experiments and put rats in like a lab and play your song to them and see if they feel tortured by it.
That's a whole different story. But on the other hand, I am a scientist actually working in cancer research. We are actually putting rats to the test, but that's with cancer medicine, not with our music.
There you go. Yeah, one of my best bros, he's also a scientist that's working on proteins to cure cancer. So, man,
Nice.
you guys are doing great work for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
See, you're helping the world with these diseases, and then you're helping the world with mental issues with your music, because music's the best therapy.
I agree. Yeah.
And the last thing is, tell everybody, first of all, how to connect you on socials, and more importantly, how to buy your merch. A, because they can't listen to my show unless they buy your merch, because it's the only way bands get to the next gig nowadays. B, I was looking through your merch store. I was like, man, you have a lot of badass merch.
Yeah, we really love our merch game.
Oh my God, some of it's so cool.
Yeah. Or you can get it on distantofficial.com. I have to ship everything from here, from my home. So we do ship it from the Netherlands. And I think that's also the best way to stay connected, besides just the general Instagram and Facebook.
Nice. And I also have to ask you, okay, because I can't see clearly, but behind you, is that all your like artist passes from your gigs?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Collection.
I love how you did that. Like, I have all my credentials, but they're like stuffed in a bag in a drawer somewhere. I like what you did there.
That's a waste. I love looking at them, and just having a glimpse of them just gives me motivation.
Yeah, totally. That's why I'm seeing them like, maybe that's what I should do in my studio with all of mine. I love it. Well, you guys are badass. Everybody's got to check you out. They got to buy your merch, and definitely look forward to seeing a lot more of you at the U.S. festivals, and I hope I catch you at a European festival too.
Yeah, hopefully without a thunderstorm this time. And
I know, right? I know, right? We don't want that, but it's part of it, though, right? You got to weather the storm, and when you're a metalhead, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.